Thank you. Then he further says that you told him that after you receive the above information, everything that we've spoken about now, you then decided to tell your son, who is a police officer in Johannesburg, about the above information. His name is Mzansi Zungu.
Uyaqhubeka ke abhali athi wase umtshela lokho okulandelayo ke yena wabhala phansi ukuthi emuva ke ukuthi sengithole lo lwazi lolu ngathatha isinqumo sokuthi ngitshele indodana yami eyiphoyisa eGoli mayelana nalo lwazi lolu igama lendodana yami uSkhumbuzo Zungu.
In other words, Brigadier Gininda says here, after you had this discussion with Mpekiseni and you receiving the information that Moses Sibiya and Mafikantanzi killed SENZO, you then took that information and related it to your son, Mzansi Zungu.
Manje ke lokho obhalwe lana uyena uBrigadier Gininda usho lokho okulandelayo baba ukuthi emuva kokuthi wena ke usuxoxisene noma senikhulumileke noMbhekiseni wasuthatha ke lo lwazi lolu onalo oluthole kuyena uMbhekiseni wandlulisela kwindodana yakho uSkhumbuzo Zungu. No, I know nothing.
Did you ever have a discussion with Mpekiseni relating to the involvement of Moses Sibiya and Mzansi? Mzansi is accused number 2 on the killing of SENZO MEYIWA.
Ngabe khona nje inkulumo enaba nayo wena noMbhekiseni emayelana nalokho?
uMbhekiseni wayengazange abe nayo inkulumo etheni namaze ngibe nayo. Into nje yabangela lokho ngathuma ukuthi akalande yena lo iphoyisa ngoba esengene kule nkingi ukuthi akalande lona ebusuku.
There was nothing much that was said by Mpekiseni to me. Same applies from me to him. The only thing that happened was when I requested Mpekiseni to go and fetch my son, who is a police officer, when he was already in this trouble, to go and fetch him at night.
Okay. Wasn't it just fantastic to see Mzansi Sibiya and Bongani Ntanzi looking for the first time that they have hope? This is what Absolom Zungu has done for the boys, for his neighbor Mzansi Sibiya, for Bongani Ntanzi. He has come and he has brought hope. And so far, it might be taking us a little bit longer. We're all learning to have patience with Ubaba Zungu. He does take time to get to the point. But the point, he does get to it, and he's very affirmative, very assertive with his answers once he gets the question. And in this instance, he says, no, the only time Mpekiseni and Sizwe and there's anything to do with the two is when I was at work. I called my neighbor and I asked them for some money so that they can give Mpekiseni, who was staying with me at the time because he was looking for work. And I asked them to give him the money. He took the money and then he went to go and meet Constable Sizwe Zungu because he didn't know where I was staying. It was at night and he brought him to my house because I was at work. Isn't that brilliant? I love that he tied that back to the initial story that we heard on day one of Absolom Zungu'S statement. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's continue listening on.
Thank you. Then Brigadier Gininda proceeds to say that you told him that subsequent to that, I was then informed by Skhumbuzo that we should go meet the police at the head office, South African Police Services office in Pretoria. In other words, Brigadier Gininda says here that you told him that after you reported this story or this information to your son, who is a policeman, then your son said to you that you will have to accompany him to the head office in Pretoria to go and meet the police at their head offices.
Isn't that something? Why go all the way to Pretoria to meet with the police officers when your son is an actual constable? Why not take you to the nearest police station to open up a docket regarding this? Why go all the way to Pretoria to one specific police officer, actually a Brigadier Gininda? Why and how did he get all the way back to Pretoria? That, for me, raised my eyebrows. Like, whoa, why would they do that? Why wouldn't Skhumbuzo pick up the phone? I mean, it's 2020 after all, 2019. Why wouldn't he pick up the phone and say, Brigadier Gininda, oh my goodness, we have a lead in the case. Come down immediately. You have to hear this yourself. And you know what? Bring your pen and paper. You're going to want to take a statement. Is that not easier? I guess maybe it's easier said than done, but let me know your thoughts if you agree in the comment section down below. Let's continue listening on.
siyohlangana namaphoyisa.
Yebo baba. To go and meet the police.
Akazange ngihlangane nabo, angazi.
I never met the police.
Did you understand what he said here?
Ingabe uzwile yini lokho ubhale la?
Ukuthi uthi sahamba sayohlangana
Angiphinde. Emuva kwalokho ngase ngitshelwa usikhumbuzo ukuthi kuzofanele mina naye usikhumbuzo wena nosikhumbuzo kuzofanele sihambe siyohlangana namaphoyisa emahhovisi awo amaphoyisa la ePitoli.
In other words, Mr. Zungu,
ukuthi angikwazi nakhona la ePitoli oba angazange angibonanga njengokusho kwami nje. Angazi namanje obesho ukuthi kwakukuphi le ndawo.
As you're saying, I don't know this particular place or that place where we went to as to where exactly that was.
Yes, in other words, what is meant here is that's now according to Brigadier Gininda. You must bear that in mind. Now, according to Brigadier Gininda, you said to him, which he wrote down, that after you received the information from Bebiseni that Mzansi and Sibiya are involved in the killing of SENZO, you then went and narrated that information to your son. And your son then suggested that, no, we need to go and see the police in Pretoria.
I'm confused by this aspect of the police, that we should go and meet the police.
Yes. Now, what follows is, did you say to Brigadier Gininda that after you told your son about what you received from Bebiseni, did your son then say to you that, Daddy, we need to go to Pretoria where we should go and meet the police?
Manje ke umbuzo baba kulona ke sicela umbuzo ukuthi ke ingaba washo yini kwindodana yakho? Oh sorry, ngiyaphoza. Indodana yakho yasho yini kwena ukuthi asambe baba siyohlangana namaphoyisa ePitoli? No. No.
Thank you.
Noma athi kasambe siyohlangana namaphoyisa. Angibonanga futhi apha amaphoyisa. Akukholanga ngabona khona amaphoyisa.
Even if he suggested that or said that let's go and meet the police, I did not see those police. Where are those police?
Thank you, Mr. Zungu. Then Brigadier Gininda further proceeds to say that you told him that indeed the police were met, and then you dispose the statement that we're busy with to Colonel Gininda himself, who was with Sergeant Mokhane. That is what Brigadier Gininda said now. Yes. In other words, Brigadier Gininda, as he is now, he was a colonel then, he wrote in the statement that you confirmed that you indeed met the police in Pretoria. Those police were him and Sergeant Mokhane. And you then gave this statement that we're busy with now.
Ngamanye ke amagama babuzungu okushiwoyo lana ukuthi ke uBrigadier Gininda ubhale phansi ukuthi ke wase impela ke uqinisekisa ke ukuvuma na ukuthi ngempela ke nahlangana namaphoyisa lawo maphoyisa leyo ke kwaku Colonel ngesikhundla ke kwakuse uColonel ngaleso sikhathi uBrigadier manje uGininda kanye naye uSergeant Mokhane kwasebhala sona ke le statement lesi.
Akazange mina nje ngikhumbule noma yini uGininda obasabonana sibonene kabili obangikhona.
I cannot recall that. I only recall two incidents where I met Gininda. The first one,
sibonene naye akukho lapha kangichazela khona baveze kwakusempini akekho nto akwangichazela ukuthi lona ubani.
Okay. We met, and because yes, it was like I would say the witness used the word kwakusempini, it was at war. There was no way where he said to me or introduced people to me that this is so and so and this is so and so. Yebo.
Ilokho ke ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi wayengitshena nini noma nganginenhliziyo nami ephakeme ngokubuka isimo abangenze sona kodwa nje akazange ngichazele ukuthi nje kube khona nje noma efika le kimi akachazanga lutho.
So that is why now I want to know as to when or when that happened, even if I was also my temperature was also high because of the situation that I was under. Even at the time when he came to me, he never said anything or explained anything or introduced anyone to me.
Ngisho noma esehlukana nami ebusuku lapha bangibeka khona akazange azangichazela. Ngoba wangiletha la wangithatha le wangibuyisela futhi emva wangibeka lapha enkhalweni.
Even when he took me back home at night, he never said or mentioned anything because he took me from home and then he took me from home and took me for wherever they took me and then took me back, but he did not drop me at home. They just left me in an open field.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Zungu. But Brigadier Gininda says that in the statement, now according to him that you gave him, you said the following, that I dispose the above statement to Colonel Gininda. In other words, it is you who gave him all this information that we've been busy with up to now.
Wow. So far, Absolom Zungu says he's met Gininda twice in his lifetime. And the first time he says, "Kwakusempini." Guys, that word really had me shocked. Okay. I was like, what? It was so jaw-dropping for me. Kwakusempini means it was at war. It was like tense. There was no time for introductions. There was no time for this is Sergeant Mohane and this isn't dun dun. No, this is the time. Those of you, if you've seen my shorts where Brigadier Gininda is inside, Parati within, there's a driver, and then there's two men who are seated with Ubaba Zungu in the back of the truck, outside the truck. It's not a double cab. No. The way he described it, it is not a double cab because he said there was a sale. Okay? Yeah, let me know if you guys remember that. But basically, those two men, he also said he didn't know who they were. So this thing of that there was a Sergeant Mokhane, he's like, how would I know that? And besides, even if inhliziyo ephakemeyo, guys, I didn't understand what he meant, and I think Jonas did a terrible job translating that. Can you please let us know in the comment section the correct interpretation of inhliziyo ephakemeyo? Even though inhliziyo ephakemeyo, there was still no introductions. So let me know what he meant by that. I really want to understand because I think it's crucial. Everything he says is just, he carries your attention. He forces you to listen to him. So please let me know in the comment section. But he goes back to the time they picked him up and then they just dropped him off in the random spot and he had to find his way home. And he's still holding on to that. He still remembers what they did to him. That is absolutely sad. Again, absolutely sad. Wow. The liver of the Brigadier and friends. Woo! Let's continue listening on.
Okubhaliwe lana baba uZungu kufundeka ngalendlela ukuthi ke nganikeza ke ngestatement kuyena uBrigadier Gininda kwakuKenneth Gininda ngesikhathi. Lokho kusho ukuthi konke lokho esesikufundile manje ukusuka ke eqaleni ukuzofika ke manje la esikhona uBrigadier Gininda uthi uwena owamtshela kona.
Hayi, songiphosisela mina.
No, he's telling lies about me.
Thank you.
Bengisho lokho ukuthi akasukungikhulumela nje ezinye izinto ngoba le statement sizongena nami ngizongena ngembuzo la statement.
As to this statement, I'm also going to have my questions regarding this statement.
So
ukuthi njengoba sikhuluma ukuthi uGininda uthi ngaya kuye mina.
About the fact that Gininda claims that or alleges that I went to see him.
yeah, we'll come to that, Mr. Zungu. You'll definitely have an opportunity for that. You'll definitely have an opportunity for. So what you're saying is mentioning of the fact that you confirm that you dispose a statement to him that is incorrect.
Seen my lord this silent. Have you ever, in my lord's history, I think my lord needs to let us know, Abandaba, in the history of his 55 years and dun, has he ever had a witness say, I need as well to cross-examine the statement? Yeah, I'm also going to need to ask questions from that statement. Absolom Zungu in the building, and he is not here to play. Do you understand me? He wants his day. Well, he is in court, but he wants his day in court where the mic is his. And I think the way I predict how Mnisi is going to do it at the end of his cross-examination, he's just going to say, bust some rhymes, the mic is all yours. Say what you want to say, get it off your chest. Wow. This, ladies and gentlemen, is incredible. I can already see Valoy is planning a 12-week cross-examination. I can already see it. It's happening. Let's continue listening on.
Okushoyo wena baba uZungu ukuthi lokubhalile lana ukuthi wena wathi ke wenza istatement kuyena ukuthi akusilona iqiniso. Usho kanjalo.
Akusilo ke ngoba kezanga akwenziwa ngokusemthethweni ngibhali ngabe ngiyavuma bani thwa khona okwenzeka kwakukhona nase police station kwaxoxwa yonke into ngabe ngiyazivuma ukuthi nakho engakubhalayo ke mina ngathi ngiyazivuma.
Yes, I do not admit or agree to it because nothing was done in the correct way or lawfully. Because if it was at the police station, there were some stamps that were put, I would have been able to point out or identify that indeed I agree. This is what I said or this is what I wrote.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier Gininda.
Bengizokhuluma ukuthi nasi ke statement sesenziwe. Uma sesenziwe akukho nokufanele kwenziwe. Angithi kuna police station nani siyaxoxa into mayenzi wayengithatha phela ngithathe ngalendlela ngithatha wangisani kuyokwenza ubufakazi lapho wakhuluma nali iphoyisa lela hayi nasi statement kade sense cela ukusho ukuthi lokho uyakuzwale uyakufunda ufundisile ungifundisile wafundisa nephoyisa lakho kade sizokwenza lento endaweni ethile.
I just want to know or to ask with regards to this statement, is there any indication or anywhere where it points out and says that this was done at a particular place or at a police station, there was a police officer, this was read back, a stamp was put on this? Is there something to that effect that indicates that?
We understand what you're talking about, Mr. Zungu. I think you're referring to a commissioning of a statement. We'll get to that later on.
Okay.
Thank you. Then he proceeds to say that you told him that you can identify Mafiga to the police if you see him, but you do not have his photos. Now, did you ever say to Brigadier Gininda, according to him, that you could be able to identify Mafiga to the police? Unfortunately, you did not have his photos.
No, I never said it. Because I can identify Mafiga without a photo.
Thank you. Now, he further says that that is all that you could say for now. In other words, your story ended there. You told him that my story ends here. Did you ever say to him that?
No.
Thank you. Now, he further proceeds to say that you said to him that you know and understand the content of this statement.
No, I never said so.
Now, from there are signatures which are appearing at the bottom of the page there. Unfortunately, the copies that we were handed by the state, the signatures, they were cut out. We do not have a full view of the nature of the signatures. They are requested yesterday, probably a better version of the statement from the state. Probably the state is still preparing it.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Taula.
Oh my goodness, Brigadier Gininda never ceases to amaze me. First of all, we have the missing photo of Mzansi Unfiltered. Strike one from the statement. Absolom Zungu'S says, show me the photo. And I'll show you if that's the photo I saw on Mzansi Zungu'S photo. Strike two. Show me the signature. Nisi says there is no signature, and I'm granting the state grace to give us better copies. I don't want to affirmatively declare right now that there is no signature, but what I am in possession of, there is no signature. It reminds me of Advocate Tulani Joshua Ngomezulu the late when he said, they are cooking. Come on now, Brigadier Gininda. A whole commissioned officer, a brigadier. Well, in his defense, he was a colonel at that time. I wonder, can we use that as an excuse? Or should I say, can the state use that as an excuse? Is a colonel a commissioned officer? I think it's time we check that. 1 second. Okay, I've done the verification, and here it is, proof for you to see as well, straight off of the SAP's website. There it is, a colonel. He is indeed a commissioned officer. Or should I say he was indeed a commissioned officer at the time. And you can see all the ranks. There's 4 ranks below. So he's had time to have experience as a commissioned officer to do the statement correctly, a.k.a. where is the signature? Where are the dockets? No. Are you a criminal? No. When I need to quote this right, where is Mzansi Unfiltered's photo? Where are the dockets? Where?
Okay. Where are the 21 dockets, 121 dockets?
Where are they?
Now, yes.
They are.
I'm asking from the custodian now.
They are in. I take it that they will be with the political killing test team project manager.
Why were they taken?
They were taken, brought by them to be taken to where they needed to be taken to.
Accused number 1 was not there. They're busy now. That's why one will be tempted to say they are cooking. They are manufacturing day in, day out. So that it can fit what the state wants to do. Because I can see, I can tell this court now, they don't have a case. I'm not
It's voluminous documents, but only